Hey, this is Daniel the Prophet. You're now watching the Transparency Experiment, Group Therapy.
Well, welcome to the Transparency Experiment, and you are?
Cousin Skinny.
Bless the hands of the Spirit. We celebrate you for tonight. We count it the success, we count it joy. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. So,
Can we win somewhere?
let's do this. Let's do our cast introductions because most people don't even know each other in this room. So let's start right here to the left of me.
Hey, I'm William Townsend IV, Fayetteville, Georgia. I pastor Overflow Church. I'm also a senior human resources recruiter within talent acquisition. Honestly, my life started in the church, but I didn't find my life until it came to the streets. I tell the story oftentimes that it was the church who hurt me and the street who healed me.
I want to keep up with this energy. Hi, my name is Will Singletary. I am a 15-year survivor of living with HIV, living, winning, and thriving. I have a nonprofit that I've started. It's called Positive to Positive. I call it on my status. I'm probably going to release a little bit of my vulnerability during the show, probably. It depends on what I feel. And this is coming from a true place right now. This is not coming from comedy or any of that. I'm just telling you what I plan to give in full transparency.
My name is Sunny James. What I'm gonna say? Non-believer. I think that's what worked last time, right? When we got kicked out. I got kicked out of a church, but I'm a Christian on the inside only if it means nothing before the King James
Fried
Version.
chicken on Sunday. I did.
So I grew up Seventh-day Adventist primarily, and I remember being in the pew at one time, and there was a conversation about like children in other parts of the world going to hell because they didn't have access to Jesus, and I just thought at that early age, like, that sounds wrong. So I've always had questions, even if I was like very, almost like a zealot, I would say, like very fanatic about traditional Christianity.
I'm Cousin Skinny. I'm his little cousin. He said I'd be a good fit for the show, so I just said I'd try it out. If I had to choose a religion, I would choose more on the Muslim side than Christianity. It's cool with some dope folks. Walks aspects of life. That's what makes it the transparency experience.
Hi, my name is Mila, and I am the guest artist.
One thing I like about Mila is that the girl can sing. That's thing number one. She can sing. But Mila, I like who she is. I like her view on life. I like her transparency. I like her freedom, but I also like the fact that Mila, you can tell that she's holiness. So I love a good holiness girl.
Yes!
See what I did? I'm super excited to be your host of the Transparency Experiment Season 2 Group Therapy. I'm Daniel the Prophet. Most people know me as Prophet Daniel Stevens. I started ministry when I was 10 years old. 10 years, so that was maybe, let's say 22 years ago. Okay, so I've been in ministry 22 years. Started Kingdom Warriors, an international evangelism organization, which our focus was to lead 1 million souls to Christ. I think we led somewhere between like 5,000 and 10,000 souls to Christ in a matter of 3 years. It was an amazing move of God. So I got a question, right? The first segment is called, What Would Jesus Do? Okay, what would Jesus do? WWJD First question. Y'all ready for this one? Y'all ready? First question. Should Christians smoke weed? They're gonna shut my ministry down after this one. I don't know where I'm gonna preach it no more. I'm just playing. Brand is not just a logo. It's more than a flyer or a website. A brand is repetition, identity, style, experience.
We know branding.
We know branding.
Oh, we know branding.
Oh, branding. We know branding.
Atlanta Brand Agency. We know branding. Schedule a free consultation with one of our friendly brand strategists today. Should Christians smoke weed?
Let me see.
Yes, that was Moses was doing.
Yes.
That was the burning bush. Was marijuana.
Come on now.
Okay.
Well, the earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof. And so we're growing weeds.
That was the burning bush.
And if we grow it, it's his, because he created it. So why should I not have what he created? And that's how Mary had a whip, full plate. Listen.
Okay. Anybody else?
I'm gonna say something. So I'm the non-Christian of the group, but I do remember some verse about the herbs and the seeds, and the birds and the bees were obviously taken care of. So the birds should not worry, and neither should we.
Should my nerves?
Be happy, don't worry, smoke weed.
I'm smart, Daniel.
You just gotta love Sunny.
Please edit this to make it.
I don't know if you said made sense, but it rhymed, and because it rhymed.
It was smoke weed.
And you win.
There we go.
And you win. That is amazing. Anybody else?
I think for me personally, because of the type of person I am, to each is his own.
He does. How do you feel about working with Daniel, the prophet?
Man, I've known of Daniel, the prophet, for years. I think we probably worked on 2 platforms together, but I've never got a chance to see him in this element or in his new element. And I think it's honestly a great opportunity and experience to see the coming together of different minds, especially with his to know that considering he is Daniel the prophet, but also he is realistic and relevant. But the way I build my life is centered around though it is lawful, it's not expedient. And that's for my particular life. So it can very well be okay for some people, but for me personally, it's just something I don't do.
Amen.
Right
I would
there.
say, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
But I would say that as well. I know that for me personally, it is it causes me to lose focus, and it's a distraction for me. And I want to have myself open and available to be present for whatever is needed for me at that time. So I'm just not open to distractions. And also in the Bible it says to be ye of sober mind. And when I'm smoking, I'm not sober. So that's just my personal opinion.
I never break down the lawful, we're not expedient.
Yeah.
So you think we be smoking the wrong weed? If it's right weed, then it's wrong weed, right?
Yeah.
Because they do some things to these things.
Sober mind.
And
That's when you talk about sober mind, that thing scares me because people think sober is to be balance. When I think of the word sober, I'm thinking balance. And then when you're high, are you out of balance, or does it really make you more balanced?
I feel more balanced. You get what I'm saying? I've been smoking weed pretty much. I started smoking weed at 11. So I don't know. It's just part of me. I just smoke even when I be in prison. The time I was in prison, I even was paying high for it because I just like to smoke weed.
You was smoking weed in jail?
Yes.
You can get weed in jail?
You can get everything.
The niggas can get a phone in jail.
They gonna lie.
Live.
Double cheeseburgers in jail. What do you mean?
Could you function without weed?
Yeah. Oh no, I can't. My bad for the defense.
Well, that leads us to question number 2. All right. Question number 2. What would Jesus do?
Wait a minute, is this PG-13 or are we R?
Yeah, you know, we about to find out. This is the transparency.
Well, yeah, we should pass. And I'm in PHUCK.
Let me finish the question.
Okay. Goddamn.
So, literally, the question is, should Christians cuss? Right? We heard Kirk Franklin cuss out his son.
But why you gotta keep stereotyping towards Christian? Because it's a couple people here that's not Christian.
Okay, let's talk. People of faith. People of faith. People who have religious beliefs. Should we use profanity?
I think it's so funny how we throw the title Christian out there so quickly. Because just because I'm a Christian don't mean I'm not human. We use the term man of God. Well, let's break that down. I'm a man first, and I just so happen to be of God. So if I curse, it don't mean I don't love him any less. It just means I had my moment.
Yeah.
And we got to be careful when we have our preferred sinners. I'm okay with you sinning because we cool.
Yeah.
But Kirk Franklin can't do it because we're not cool. You get what I'm saying? Like, so, again, that goes back to my original point. It may not be something that I do, right?
Yeah.
But we so quick to throw that title out there, Christians curse. Your mama curse.
Yeah.
And I don't know no black child either that didn't grow up in a household where your grandma and your mama didn't curse. You know what I'm saying? I think we do a disservice when we generalize everything to Christians or Muslims or whatever. Like, you know, that's
So flesh is a mess.
flesh is a mess.
Flesh is a whole mess.
Yeah.
Period, point blank. And you ain't gonna tell me when Jesus was in that temple, flipping tables,
Tables over.
we hear folks in that throat, that he ain't say He man ain't say
Yeah.
But I mean,
who's stereotype that word though?
I don't
to say that was a bad word.
And what-
You know what I'm
and-
saying? Like, oh, is a bad word. How you know? That could be a good word. That could be like, hey, how you doing?
In other
So who really know?
the song of Solomon is all about
I always feel like in other cultures, they have their curse words that are just regular words to us.
Like
you know, or bloody, or bloody. You say bloody in England, it is not a good day, but in America we have our set words. I think when it comes down to cursing, it's more so about offense, and I think we should do everything in our power to not offend our brothers.
Is the offense or the intent?
Be it well.
Offense is the
That's
powerful.
Because I can use a word.
They do say, because there's a saying, right? Intent is less important than impact. So I feel like offense is impact, right? Because you can intend, to your point, about preferred sins and Christians.
But my sins of commission and omission are what I do.
Yes.
So if my intent is something, I can say that you're a female dog, which is the same thing as but I'm in that. But if I say female dog, it's just as derogatory because my intent was there.
Absolutely.
I see it more like this. I think when I think of cussing, I feel like you can curse somebody, and it has nothing to do with the words you choose. So when I'm thinking of should people cuss who are of faith, that means using your words to put something on somebody. Yeah. So to me, it's not like or it's people use regular words and cuss people out all the time, or they curse people, even in their criticisms, right? They have this thing about brutal honesty. People like the brutal part.
I'm with you.
And you're not using one cuss word. And then the other part is to your point about words, who's deciding what words. People, we're not even catching up. We're not catching up to how people cussing out each other now. That's historical. So we're using a old reference to almost be prissy. You know what I'm saying? We didn't come up with that.
Wow.
Especially black people. We wasn't near the table creating a language. We use it in a different way. So you're not gonna tell me we say one word and say it different ways. You can say use it 10 different ways.
And it can be nice. Hey, what's up?
Yeah.
Hey,
but I've not been cursed out as good as I've been cursed out by a Christian.
Nah, you done said something.
And a Christian that I love.
Yeah.
And they cuss with passion.
That's just part of what I kind of felt because we have people here who were not on the cast speaking, and they were actively asking questions and have concerns. And so what it showed me is, because that person who did all of that was the kind of person who I expect to watch this.
And to me, I feel like Christians be like the most, like they cuss and they be like the most pettiest and the most evilest. It be like, especially like the ones that's heavy in church. It's just saying about it. I just can't stand like, man, you such a hypocrite. You get what I'm saying?
Because, wow, I never looked at it.
Because we hold people to a standard
I know
that we ourselves don't live up to. You get what I'm saying? And let me say this. I pastor a lot of non-church people. Yeah. So, like, for example, my dude texted me, they like, Pastor, God finna spin the block around for you. And I had taken him in like, what you mean he about to spin the block? But he was like, God about to come back around and bless you. I'm like, okay, 100, cool. It was like that because the church had a tendency to give rehearsed love, and the streets gave me genuine love because they knew, if nothing else, we share something in common, that we're all human. You feel what I'm saying? And so, but a lot of them will tell you, I got lost in it. Like, you know, I got a little education, so you got to run that back with me, dog. But a lot of them, his biggest thing coming to church was, the reason why I want to come to church is because I see the same stuff in the world. And I can do the same stuff in the world that y'all do in the church, and I won't be judged. And see, he don't want to come to church because we have spiritual amnesia. Like, we ain't never did it. Like, we ain't never smoked weed. Yeah. We ain't never drank. We never messed with somebody else. That we ain't been went our own bed. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. So I respect your part when you say it's a bunch of hypocrites, because we do preach one doctrine. We preach it from a place of defense instead of offense, and we make it offensive to you, but defensive for us. Yeah. So we'll offend you for what you do, but we'll use it because I'm a human. Well, why can't I be a human? You feel what I'm saying? Exactly. So I respect what you're saying.
So it sounds like that it's okay to use the cuss word every now and then, right, as long as your intent is not to offend or curse.
That's fair.
If your curse word is an actual curse, that is powerful. That, like, you're cursing.
I'm gonna preach that.
I'm telling you. That's
your curse.
I got a question.
Okay.
I know we keep using the word Christian. What is the true definition of the word Christian? Like, what is a Christian?
I am a C. I am a CH. I am a CH. Don't think I spelled it right. But I'm a Christian simply because I follow the teachings of Christ. Now listen to this. The basic sentiments of Christianity is to love God and love thy neighbor as you love yourself. Wow, that's powerful.
Because really, in my opinion, it's politics. Because y'all can say to me, because I'm gonna do what I do. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna smoke me a blunt. I might even drink a little bit, you know. But I'm still a believer. Right. I still believe that on the cross. I still believe everything that Christians believe in. I still live the life I'm supposed to live as a Christian. So what is a Christian? Explain it to me.
Anybody want to take a stab?
I want to take a stab at it because I'm a professional Christian, which means I do it professionally. And I say that because I'm 44 years old. And so a Christian follows Christ.
That's the teachers. What Morris said was golden, okay? To be a Christian simply means to follow the teachings of Christ or Jesus the Christ. I am a Christian because I follow the teachings of Christ, not because of how I dress, not because of how holy or how righteous I am.
Sheep follow the shepherd, but sheep are dumb. Sheep have to be guided. They got a dog that's gonna run and like guide them, and then they got the rod that the shepherd takes to bring them, and they go astray. So to be a Christian means I'm gonna follow, but I'm also gonna get lost in the mix with the people who are Christians as well. So I can't depend on them to help me get where the shepherd is leading me. So as a Christian, I'm gonna mess up. I may be way back at the end of the line, but at the beginning, I was the front Christian. I may not always be that Christian. I'm gonna be at the end, in the middle, on the side. Who knows?
But as a Christian, I'm going to follow.
I'll follow.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm a person of very positive thinking. And so this is my attitude, this is my energy. I start on 100. And so if you getting to 100, I got you beat. But I also may be somewhere where you can withdraw energy. And that's what I want to do. I want to be okay with explaining to somebody who doesn't understand, someone who disagrees, that it's okay. But put it in words for the person who heard what they heard with their heart into words they can hear with their ear. And put a T on it and then have heart because they heard it right. Regardless of what I do. Now he may have to, again, bring it back in, but I'm still a Christian.
That's his rod. That's what's the significance of his rod. People, like, I'm glad you said that. His rod does two things. His rod and staff, they comfort me. His rod not only comforts me, but it also corrects me.
Yeah.
The comfort comes in him protecting me against the wolves, but it corrects me when I get out of line. You feel what I'm saying? And like he said, I started ahead as a strong sheep, but I done lost my way. And every sheep I know done lost their way. Well, they just know how to hide it a little better. You get what I'm saying? Or they know how to put it off on the side. So for me to be a Christian means I'm following the teachings of what I've not just been taught, but what I've learned from experience. You get what I'm saying? The Christian is my religion. That's taught. But my relationship is what keeps me in covenant with him.
Alright, so like with me, a Christian, especially like when I think of Christian, I think about the Bible. You get what I'm saying? King James version. There's so many different versions, but like I was a history major. Like when I went to college, that was I wanted to be a history teacher. So like that's my passion, like history. I know everything about history. And King James, when King James came about, that's when the Gatling Press first started coming out. And that's the first printer they ever formed. You get what I'm saying? He abolished all Bibles, everything that talked about religion. He abolished everything. He made his own version. That's why I feel, how I feel about Christianity. Don't get me wrong. I done read the Bible from beginning to end. I done read the Quran, beginning to end. I done read the Torah, beginning to end. I just love knowledge. That is what I do. You get what I'm saying? I read all day. So with that being said, I forgot what I was doing.
But this is my thing. While there are many versions, lost and found, I still believe for me, there's only one God. For me. And I'm able to sit. I have friends that are not Christians. Yeah. They're other beliefs. And you know what? This is our conversation. It's a long way. That's my thing. And I'll tell them anything. If they want me to, if I'm right and you wrong, I'm good. If you right and I'm wrong, I'm good. But at the end of the day, I'm good because I know what I believe in. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. And while there are many versions, I still believe. Yeah. There's only one God. That's the God that I serve.
Cousin Skinny, when he talked about his belief and what he stand on, and even in that moment of our views being different or our belief being different, still being able to come together and literally hear each other out without it being an argument or being a negative vibe. And then when he asked me, he said, "What church do you pastor? I want to come to it." That to me meant something. That even in a transparent moment, my words or my behavior, or how I made somebody else feel, regardless of their religious belief, still had an impact to where they were interested in something that I'm doing that may be opposite of what they believe in.
Okay, no.
And I like that. You get what I'm saying? Like I'm not all this, but I disagree with this thing. It is like when you know a person when they try to what they call it, like when they try to compress a person. You get what I'm saying? They were King James, he compress everybody just to go off his version. You get what I'm saying? So that's where I go on. Because I'm a real good.
I think this is really taking us into our next subject, but before we do that, I want to cut. I want to stop recording. I want to stop sound and cut everything. Yeah, please. You got a logo. All right, everybody give yourselves a hand. I'm good. Brand is not just a logo. It's more than a flyer or a website. A brand is repetition, identity, style, experience.
We know branding.
We know branding.
Oh, we know branding.
Branding.
We know branding.
Atlanta Brand Agency. We know branding.
Schedule a free consultation with one of our friendly brand strategists today.
God wrapped in the flesh. So when we deal with Jesus, I think it's best for us to use his original name, right? That way it makes it more broad across the world. Everyone can agree that his original name is not Jesus, but it's Yeshua, Yeshua, Hamashua, you know. So when we deal with that Jesus, when we deal with Yeshua, we deal with Savior, we deal with God wrapped up in flesh. God is Jesus.
I love it that y'all so good and deep. All I know is when I say his name, something changed.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, hold on, wait. I'm speaking from a place.
Real, bro.
I'm speaking from a place where
That's real.
I was medically challenged. And I had 90 more days on the earth.
That's real.
And they had their way. That was 15 years ago.
Come on.
So one, they can't count. And two, they still practice. And what I know from my experience was, it was the conversations that I had with God prior to those 90 days when I got my diagnosis. I kept talking to him, and it wasn't prayer. And I'll say this, Jesus was on the earth. So that was all fine, well, and good and dandy. It wasn't until I got in that experience where I called God. Ooh. And God became mine. That's what made it personal. Yeah. But I know God is Jesus because the little bit that I've been taught, the little bit that I can go on, was in the beginning God.
But now if God is Jesus, right, are we also God?
He said let us make him in our image. He said let us make him God.
That's just a teaser. Wait, that's just a teaser.
Quick question. So quick question. You say God is Jesus. Jesus is God.
It's not more.
But they say in the Quran and in the Bible, they say that God can conform in any, he can be in any spirit. So it's really a spirit that can jump in anybody.
So can I?
You get what I'm saying? So right now, to be honest with you, God can jump in you, and you can be the next Jesus that everybody's looking up to.
But my God got to jump.
So this is
my God. Feel him jumping.
So, but you
have to get moving and rocking.
I want to address what he said. I want to address what he said.
You might be a preacher.
I want to address what he said because it's so magical to me. You said what the Quran said, and you said what the Bible said. And I don't look at the Bible as basic instructions before leaving Earth. I'm an educated black man, and I know that references mean a lot to me. So the Bible is a reference. Mm-hmm. The dictionary is one of the most important reference tools you have. We used to have encyclopedias before Google came out, right? And as the reference that I need, that's what the Bible is. That's why I read it from beginning to end.
I know, but
I look it up like a word when I need it.
But the reference that you're going to is from King James Version. Let's go back to what I was saying earlier.
Okay, and so the future that I see for this is, I see people very different watching this and agreeing on the difference. I know I'm King James, but then I got a little bit older and then I saw it was a New Living translation, and then there was. So I agree with you.
It's too many.
It's too many. So take what you need and get what you got.
A church finger, is that right? This is the church finger.
I'll let's
do this.
I'll go back to God.
Let's do this.
I say I'll go back to God.
Let's do this.
I didn't know.
It's all men in this room.
God really wanted you to go.
Hey.
Because I remember saying like it's all men in the room, and what I mean by that is that it literally shifts the dynamic. It makes me think of like when I see men on a train, like they just sit wide. It's not. I mean, it's natural, right? I guess that's what they tell me. But the way that men, I'm using that as an example to say the way men take up space, it is different, and we have learned to adapt to it. And so I'm very aware of it and make sure that I address it in my own way when I'm in the room.
What about the other female that was in the room?
Was she was part of the discussion. Was she not a talent?
will help shape who's watching and who ain't watching. You know what I'm saying?
With the big American flag, I feel suspicious of the person inside.
Stay tuned to the next episode of the Transparency Experience Group Therapy.
Listen, did you guys enjoy episode 1 of the Transparency Experiment Group Therapy? I know you did. Now listen, down below in comments, leave yours, bring a friend, all of that. Now listen, what you don't want to do is miss next week's episode. And that's or Mary had all of the episodes. We out.